I knew my life would be shit once I started working at Wendy's. I started working at Wendy's when I realized my mom stopped wanting to pay my college funds. I needed to pay my rent, and the nearest work available was a local Wendy's. I ended up working there anyways, and impressed the manager enough to have a suitable income for my situation. Finally, I had enough money to pay my rent and support myself. Things were good, but I was looking for other jobs related to my studies over at college. We had small staff, consisting only of 12 people. After about a year, I was granted the job of a supervisor. One quiet night, we were ready to all work night, and we were working all night because of the new 24 hours Wendy's open system. My shift was all the way from 10 to 8 in the morning. I thought it would be a slow, boring night with nothing more than me and my 4 other people. The 4 people were an old man named Jim and a few teenage girls. I was the supervisor on the right, and my boss decided to leave us. Most of the night, there were no customers as we speak, except for this old guy. He was pretty fat, and I guess there was some people who wanted chicken fix at 12 at night. After 12, all of us just stood at our posts, sometimes working and sometimes not. I just looked at the drive-thru window and the camera just most of the time, looking for something that caught my eye. I did notice a car coming from the drive-thru entrance. "Gear up, guys," I told them. "There's a customer." The car was in a yellowish 56 Chevrolet convertible. "And he's got a sweet car," I said, to make things more interesting. I picked up the headset and spoke into the mic. "Hello, welcome to Wendy's. How may I take your order?" After just a few seconds of silence, I heard whispering, or a quiet speaking of some sort. This was a bit weird, and I just had to ask again. "Sorry, sir, could you repeat that order again?" After a few seconds of silence, I just regarded the whole situation as odd. I looked over to my coworkers, and they shrugged. I could tell that Jim was getting impatient. Then I asked again, "Could you give me that order again, please?" There was silence again. Before I could ask again, Jim took the headset from me. "Sir, could you please just..." He was cut off by something I don't even know. The color faded away from my face immediately. He ripped off the headset, ran to the employee washroom, crying. I was shocked to see that senile old man just would break so easily. One of the girls chased him. I put the headset and heard static. I saw the cord was cut. "God damn it, Jim, you broke my headset!" I just looked at the screens, and neither of them had the yellow convertible. 15 minutes later, one of the girls came back with Jim. He said that he heard his mother's voice. I didn't even know whatever to yell at him to stop being crazy or sympathize with him. I just simply told him to get back to work, and that I'd take care of the drive-thru. The girls clearly looked worried and a bit scared. As a supervisor, I had to keep all my staff under control and hard working. I had told them just to get back to their posts and wait for them to give any orders that came through. Earlier on, I had no idea as to what happened. I was thinking of these ways would be possible. Were we being pranked? I thought as I looked through the cameras once more, and they had just messed with me on the mic and spread right past the window. No, they couldn't have. I would have had heard the engine run outside. I wasn't skeptic on the earlier parts of life, but recently I had stopped believing in such things. I didn't know whether I was losing touch with my religion or maybe my lack of belief in the supernatural. Needless to say, I had a lesser amount of logic in my head than before tonight. It was about an hour later when things started to get weird later on. We were getting a little tired, and we were about to take the mini shifts where we would all take quick naps. I looked down at the cameras once more and noticed a bit of fuzz going on. I tapped the screen lightly, and it seemed to fix it for a couple of seconds, but then started to get more fuzzier than before. I tried to fix it again. After a few more times of fixing it, I noticed something really particular going on in the right top corner of the screen. There was some guy in a hoodie walking down the sidewalk just barely out of view. After the hoodie guy had passed, there was another guy just seconds afterwards. "Hey guys, check this out," I said, pointing to the screen. I at once said that the guy had stopped and then walked over to this camera screen. I felt him like he heard me somehow, and then he continued to walk until there was no more of the hood guy. Never mind. The screen started to clear up again. By that time, I really had to gotten tired. I would have taken a nap, but for some reason, there's a rule about supervisors not taking naps, and knowing Jim, he ratted me out in a second. So I went to the office and was at the back, just doing some paperwork needed to get taken care of. I just needed to fill out what was needed for the night of how much we made. It was actually very simple stuff. While I was working on it, I noticed a red piece of paper that was in the pile. I picked it up and it said, "The freezer." Of course, I couldn't understand it, but the writing was very sloppy. It reminded me a bit of a cover of a Goosebumps book. I chuckled a bit and went to consult my coworkers. I had asked them if they had left a piece of paper in my office, but they all say in return was, "The office has been locked all day. We're too tired to pull any pranks." I just left it and went to check on the cameras. I got to the cameras to only find them busted. All the screens were cracked and the headset was imitating the weird static noise. "Guys, who the fuck is this? Did this?" I questioned in an extremely angry tone. "I thought I heard something," one of the girls said. "What did you hear?" She seemed to have a higher IQ than the other girls, who just seemed to have texted their phones half of the day. I was even surprised to see that she didn't check the noise. I heard a bit of tapping and then a loud banging sound. It only lasted for a couple of seconds, so I thought somebody else was over there. "I thought you were over there," said one of the other girls texting on their phone. Why their phones have so much power, I will not understand. "Well, I wasn't," I said in a shaky voice. For the next few minutes, we just stood there, not talking. It was kind of eerie. Actually, it was all silent, and all I could hear nothing but static on the headset. The headset, I thought. Realizing the cord might have been broken earlier, I ran over to the headset, checking if my Fury was going to be there. Sure enough, I was correct. The cord was completely disconnected, but it was still making noise. I felt my blood run cold, and the hairs on the back of my neck stood up as I slowly put on the headset. All I heard was a disarray of static, and I didn't even know what to say, so I stammered out a weak, "Hello?" As soon as I spoke, the headset blared out a sound disoriented. "The freezer!" It was so loud that I ripped off the headset as soon as I heard it, after I told them not to go anywhere near the freezer. As the night went on, I tried to get the screens fixed, but I couldn't, so I just told the girls to watch the windows every once in a while. It started to get a little hot, which was strange since it was in the middle of October, and I knew it was going to be very cool during the night. I regarded it as a change of temperature. The night went on silently and eerily. I made an hourly rounds, and it was nearly 4 in the morning when I noticed one of the girls had left. "What happened?" I asked Jim. Says he knew a lot of what was happening more than me. "How am I supposed to know?" he snapped back, snarling a bit as he did so. "Aren't you supposed to keep tracking of them? I'm no babysitter, I'm just doing my job." He was right. This could badly affect my performance and ruin the stable relationship I've had with my manager. I looked at the back and saw her stuff was gone. Where could she have gone? I thought I opened her locker. Her phone was still there, so she couldn't have gone far. I went over to the screens and tried to fix them again, to see if I could make up more progress. About an hour later, I finally fixed the screens. By this time, I was sweating like a dog in the desert. It was so hot in the air, it was almost like warm blankets. I looked at the screens, and all of them had dark shade of red. "Oh shit," I said to myself, as the body of a teenage girl lay in the bottom corner of the camera's view. I ran to the window and tried to open it, but it wouldn't budge. In fact, none of the windows would open. I ran to the back door and tried to open it. I have to get out of here, I thought. I tried to burst down the door, but it would not open, no matter how hard I tried. By now, I was feeling weak. I noticed that no one else was around except me. I looked out of the drive-thru window at an angle, so I could see what exactly happened. It looked like someone ran her over with a tractor. Blood was everywhere, and it looked like some of the entrails were splattered along the wall. I threw up on the sight. I ran to the front of the restaurant and tried to exit through the glass doors that led inside. I looked for something to break open the windows. I wanted to break out of there so badly, but at the same time, I wanted to be cold. I was getting so tired of blistering of the heat. I went over to the bed counter and disconnected the cash register. I knew it was the glass, but the glass seemed to be reflect back at me. It hit me directly in the knee, and then I got up and heard a loud crunch. It coming from my knee, my leg went limp. As I fell to the ground and couldn't get back up, I heard something making a hissing noise behind me. It was the grill. It was hissing, and the grease where traps were smoking. The grill suddenly burst into flames, which made the heat unbearable. I crawled over to the steel door of the freezer. It felt so cold against my head, but it felt so nice. I flicked the handle with my hand, and then I pushed open the door to escape the cold. I crawled inside and saw the lights flicker on, as if by magic. They were waiting for me there. Finally, I got one with my co-workers, and nice and cold. They were just hanging from the meat racks. I crawled deeper in and let the nice cold sweep off my ground, just to the steady cold of the meat rack. And that, my pretties, was Wendy's drive-thru. A Wendy's Creepypasta. My final thoughts on this story? Out of all the fast food creepypastas I've done, like I've done a few on McDonald's and etc., this particular story I actually found was quite interesting. It was quite a nice concept, of a normal night shift, but unfortunately some sort of crazy shit was happening inside of the Wendy's that we don't really know what happened to the protagonist after that, because they went up to the freezer and I think they either froze to death or something happened. Like, I literally don't know what happened, but I guess this story kind of gives us, maybe some theories as to what could have possibly happened. In a sense, if that makes any sense. But in all due reality, it honestly really fits well with the whole concept of the story. I mean, the sentence structuring was pretty good. I'm not going to lie. The sentence structuring was pretty good, as well as the good grammar, the sentence structuring, storyline, etc. Pretty good. I actually really thought it was really neat. And it does have a really good concept for the whole story. I mean, it honestly starts off normal, with people working the night shift, mind their own business, nothing out of the ordinary happening. But then all of a sudden, I guess, a while later, something happened. So, yeah. With all due reality, it honestly it's a pretty good concept for the story. So, I definitely have to say, it's still really well made in detail. Even though it did, give us some hints that something or someone... I mean, there wasn't really much, but I think maybe the person in the story was hallucinating what's there, like that car was making that static noise or something and it wasn't there or something. While I can definitely say the concept of it was flat out amazingly well done, but at the same time it kind of gives me thoughts on, what is actually causing to happen at the Wendy's. I mean, it kind of gives us some hints that maybe there's some paranormal going on or something, or maybe somebody was secretly, pranking them. It's really hard to say because it doesn't really make any sense. Like, part of it doesn't really make any sense in the story, but it's still a pretty well-made concept for it. So, I gotta really say, it's a pretty interesting story. I thought it was really good. We do have the grammar is pretty good in this story, as well as the sentence structuring, the storyline, everything about it. It honestly was pretty good, even though it kind of leaves us questions as to what actually happened to the, former supervisor of the Wendy's. Like, did they die or something? This, honestly, it kind of makes me confused. And I think the confusion kind of maybe brings the story down a little bit, like in rating, because of how, confusing it actually may be to some extent. But I mean, until we get, some valid, explanation as to why things happened the way they did, yeah. I mean, the story is pretty interesting. I'm not gonna lie. It was a pretty good story. I did remember coming across this one from Creepypasta, and I really hope I see more people read this in the future. It seems like a pretty good concept. I do personally thought it was neat, and it was a pretty good story. So, anyways, with that being said, and that being the case, with that being said, yeah. Like I said, this is just simply my own personal opinion, and if you happen to disagree with me, that's perfectly fine too. We're all entitled to our own opinions in regards to these creepypastas. This is just simply my own personal thoughts. I'm gonna give this story a 9.5 out of 10. Well, it's good with the grammar and stuff, but the confusing part is to what was actually going on. Was it like hallucinations, paranormal? It doesn't really explain what was happening inside of the Wendy's and what was going on in the protagonist's head or something. I mean, I really wish that it would have explained it, but I guess some things can't be explained, and that kind of makes me wonder what happened. So, yeah, that's just honestly something I really do like at the story, but sometimes in some stories it doesn't really work great, but I mean, that's just me. I think that might be me just nitpicking or something, but that's just my personal opinion. Anyways, with that being said and that being the case, what did you guys personally think of this creepypasta? Did you enjoy it? Did you not? Also, what we have done personally to help make this story a lot better? Feel free to leave me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below, because I personally would like to hear what you all think. And as always, I'm the Lion Queen. Thank you so much for watching today's episode, and if you're new to my channel, feel free to leave this video a like, comment, and subscribe if you're new. Ring the bell for notifications to when I upload, so that way you guys will not miss an upload. And as always, please roll the outro, because I'm out.